Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Good to see you. Paul Trani here with the one and only Orlando Arocena, as they say it like a white boy.
What's up?
Yes, welcome, buddy. Good to have you back. I'll
Great to
get
be
it.
back, man. How you doing today?
I'm
Good?
doing fantastic. Yeah, I'm slowly healing
Awesome,
from my
man.
race. How are you doing? We had a fantastic time with you yesterday. Like, seriously, bookmark that session. And I'm glad we have you today for another 2 hours. We'll take a little break and do an artist spotlight,
Ooh, that's gonna be
which will be
interesting.
yeah, that'll be pretty cool. And just want to welcome everyone. Of course,
Yeah.
welcome you,
Well,
Orlando, and everybody in
hey.
chat.
Yeah. What's
Hello.
up, everybody in the chat world? Hello.
Hey, Jeffrey, Matt, Annika, Golden Rose, Frank,
Golden
Rick
Rose.
H.
That's
Yeah,
cool.
Golden. Yeah, Rick H from Z by HP Tech Marketing.
Rick H.
Do you know Rick?
That's Papa Rick.
Papa Rick.
Papa
Nice.
Rick.
Awesome. Good to see you guys here.
Yeah, man, it's awesome. I'm glad that everybody was able to tune in and catch our second day.
Yeah.
Yesterday was incredible. You know, uh, I had too much fun
Yeah,
cracking
man.
jokes and catching up with you, man. Sorry that
Yeah.
we're doing this all virtual and from long distance, but it's good to catch up with you, man.
hmm Yeah. It's better than nothing. But so yeah, so yesterday was awesome. We can do a little bit more of the same. I will let you go.
Yeah, I think I'll probably just reintroduce myself for those that for the folks that didn't tune in yesterday. My name's Orlando Arocena, Arocena as
As I
my
say
boy
it.
as my boy Paul Tranny says it, and the rest of the North American hemisphere. But I
Yeah.
go by the name of I go by the handle of Mexifunk on Instagram and throughout my graffiti years. I'm a Z by HP Global Ambassador. That means that I just get to have a lot of fun promoting and pushing my art on a Z by HP platform. And I'm a
Yeah.
vector artist. Other than a vector artist, I mean, I do a lot of other things: design, creative brand strategy. I sometimes get invited to help, push the inspiration and influence at a few art universities. But in general, um, I play with vector each and every day.
Yes, you are bending vector like a boss for sure. And you can check out Orlando's work, by the way, just below us in description or off in the info tab. So check out his work. Thanks for loading up uh, your portfolio, I guess. Your
Yeah, I mean, we could take a look
Behance.
at that.
Yeah, thank you.
You know,
But feel free to
um,
get familiar with him, get like inspired by all this amazing work, which I'm amazed that you just like you make it look very painterly. It can be, of course, Illustrator is known for, I think, its exactness, but as you
yeah.
scroll through, I feel like it's just like you're you're using it to apply like paint strokes almost. So I really like it when you showed us that yesterday, by the way,
Hey, thank
when you
you.
use some of those brushes and stuff. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's obviously I started playing around with Adobe Illustrator, just like everybody else, trying to do it for logos, brand identities, and that
hmm
was back in '97, back in those years, the early years of web and vector. And then from since then, I took it upon myself to say, hey, well, if everybody's playing with Photoshop and everybody's kind of terrified of vector, let me see whether I could play with vector, get used to vector, and see whether I could have it mimic the way that I would do some of my painterly graffiti styles and my general studio painting.
Yeah, this is
So
so
every year it's
fun.
like pushing new parameters. I don't like playing with plugins. I'm a workhorse, so to say. If I need to draw it, if I see it, I need to draw it. I just don't want the computer to take too much credit for the process of it.
hmm
So
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that video. It was amazing. Did you start with a sketch before you jumped
of
into Illustrator of that guy?
of
That was
Chadwick
yeah,
Boseman.
Chadwick. Yeah. There we go.
No, basically I had a piece of photo reference off to the side that I would use
Okay.
as a piece of visual reference, and then take it from there. So I mean, it's not exact, but that's the beauty of kind of
Yeah.
your staking your claim to your artist voice And that's one thing that I really, really push a lot of on Instagram. I really try to inspire folks out there to understand the difference between being influenced by a piece of inspiration of existing art or an artist from art history, but
Hmm.
making sure that you really push your own individuality to be authentic, to be genuine. I mean, that's the world doesn't need another set of copycats within the art world. Trust
Hmm.
me, there's a bunch of them that exist, but
Yeah.
what really holds true is authenticity. Your own unique spin. And don't worry, folks right now are not digging it, or people are like, "Oh man, that's ugly. That's just hideous." You know, um, just hold your guns
Hmm.
and keep to it. You
Yeah,
know. Oh, sorry
exactly.
about that. This
No, we
guy's
love
got some
these.
music.
You're good. I don't think we heard it, but we love
Yeah, no,
these
it's okay.
like speed. Yeah, these. You're not working real time here, are you? I'm just joking.
No.
Mhm.
That's a layer click through. So it's after
Oh,
the
I see.
fact, and all I'm doing is going through the 200 or so layers that make up this composition, and just um, going through the layers and just clicking them on so that they're revealing
Hmm.
them in a video.
Oh, wow.
The one before
So
it was
impressive.
an actual time lapse, but
Yeah.
and it's all vector. Some folks are like, "Hey, it's Photoshop." No, it really isn't. Whoa, that's really
Hmm.
bad. But I use everything that's within the native arsenal of Adobe Illustrator. All the native brushes that come pre-installed within the application, um,
Hmm.
and
Yeah,
and
nothing.
just a few adjustment layers. Your multiplies, your overlays. So I
Yeah.
get to play with Hollywood and home entertainment and global, and I also get to play with folks like pop magazine publishers like Empire, and collector houses of the print world like Sideshow Collectibles. Here's a piece that actually was the cover for Empire magazine, very pop um, magazine out of England.
Yeah, very
And
cool. Very like Art Deco-ish.
hey, thanks. Yeah, I'm a
All
big
that.
fan of Art Deco.
Yeah, very
And
cool.
I ended up playing around with like turning things into like pop deco. But this piece actually went on to being licensed by Marvel and Sideshow Collectibles. And without the Empire header, just the artwork alone of Thanos, it's
Hmm.
actually has a residence center stage over on Kevin Feige's office wall over in Walt Disney Studios, Marvel Studios, Burbank, California.
Wow.
So yeah, pretty happy about that.
For sure. It's awesome, man. I'm
But
sure it'll be great printed out too.
yeah,
Cool.
this is all on my behance. You guys are welcome to take a look at it. But in the meantime, being a Z by HP ambassador, I was part of this big initiative that us ambassadors, there's 7 of us, we got together during the COVID pandemic, and we did a really cool collaboration called the Living System. And what it's about how since the COVID pandemic, majority of us all had to go inward, inside, quarantine and all, and we kind of miss nature. We kind of miss being out there in the outdoors. So each of us took our own different creative direction to try to do something and push our creative boundaries and put it into some type of linear display as far as a movie. So I don't know. Can we share
Yeah.
that teaser of of
Yeah.
it?
Let's do it.
Nice.
Welcome back, everybody. That is pretty sweet. Too many cool
Okay.
graphics, lots of motion. Dig it, dig it. Part of an awesome group too, by the way. So
Yeah, I've totally got to applaud my brothers and sisters on the ZBHP, you know, family. We have G Monk, we have Alex Truchot, we have Shane Griffin, we have Nidia Diaz, we have Jody McDonald, and we have Rick Osenbrick, who was also
Mm,
on one of the most recent
yep.
Adobe Lives that you ended up hanging out with,
Yeah.
and they did an excellent job. They did a fantastic job of actually pushing themselves to learn new applications and new programs, to be creative, to
Mhm.
really have this thing glow and be vibrant. My part, as far as like the small initiative, small little intro, was to represent a majority of the whole initiative with the poster, with the movie
Mhm.
poster. And I think, can we show a time lapse of that before I go
Yeah.
into it?
We just did.
Oh, you
Yeah.
just did? Oh, sorry about that. I wasn't even looking. I'm
No,
sorry.
you're good.
So, yeah, that poster was a lot of fun to play with. A lot of
Mhm.
exploration went into it.
Yeah.
Here's kind of the creative slab, and I tell no lies. It's all vector.
Yeah. These are all of them like look pretty darn fantastic.
Hey,
And I
thanks.
just love it's such a strong logo, especially your final poster. It's just such a strong design and so well executed. So
Hey,
hats off. And it's
thanks.
good seeing all of these. Like, yeah, kind of where you're going with them. So totally into all this.
I love trying to and record my process.
Do you so when you make all these, did you turn around and show them to anyone? Do you show them to like your wife or someone and like, hey, what do you think? This one or this one? Do you do any of
Oh,
that?
my wife is always supportive, and she's sometimes a little bit too critical, but I appreciate that. I love
Mm,
criticism.
yeah.
It's not that every criticism is right. It's just you have to determine what you want to pay attention to and gravitate to, and then harness, to be a benefit.
Mm-hmm.
But she viewed him, and she was like, whoa, these down here, what where,
What
where
were
was
you
your head
thinking?
at? What were you thinking? She's like, that is like some type of sci-fi dark crystal, lawnmower man, some type of like Stephen King horror movie,
Mhm.
and I like hearing that, because it's, I'm a fan of that world. And sometimes when you're dealing with different properties and different, identities, from the global standpoint, I don't want to lose myself as far as who I am and what I appreciate, but yet I still have to keep true to what the core, theme is. And here, the theme was to represent everything and all the artists and all the energy that went into this living system
Mhm.
movie, and
Yeah.
try to capture it. This isn't a moment where, hey, it's Orlando's turn now to do whatever he wants. No, it's Orlando's turn to represent the family, the Z HP
Yeah.
family with the living system. So I had to really dive in and examine and review and examine and review and find the joy of having to represent the team.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And
I love it. Love the final. Gorgeous. Are
hey,
you gonna do some of the everybody likes the clouds there? Are you gonna do
yeah,
something
we'll get some clouds into what
or
we're doing today.
or
You
at
know,
least something kind of related to that look? I think people
Oh
liked that
yeah,
yesterday.
definitely. We'll definitely jump into that. But I had a lot of time, a lot of fun with the living system. Yesterday we launched the actual documentary behind the scenes called Co-Created. So if anyone out there is interested, definitely go to hp.com/co-created, and get to know some of the other ambassadors and some of their work as well.
Yeah.
Cool.
Cool group. Cool, man.
So yesterday we left off with this pilot, right? And we were talking about, hey, can we get some clouds? Some nice, Bob Ross, billowy, fluffy clouds somewhere. And what are we gonna do with some color? But before that, I haven't warmed up today. So, do you mind if we just quickly just throw down a quick doodle
Yep.
before we jump into this bad boy again?
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
That's like me. Like sometimes you just need to get. It's like, can I get all my bad designs out of the way first, and then can I, can I just get this stuff out, and then I can get onto something cool.
Yeah.
That's what happens to
Well,
me.
you also work out a lot. I mean, you're like a
Hmm.
pro athlete of the
Not
world,
really.
aren't you? So like
No.
when you warm up for these things, you really have to warm up. Otherwise, you're like gonna sprain something, right?
Yeah.
Or is that just a
Just
big
because I'm
urban myth,
old.
man?
I'm just being old.
Because you're old, I'm gonna
And
send you a life supply of those
physically,
pills, bro.
yeah, yeah. I physically have to stretch before designing. I literally have to go into a stretch.
What?
Not really, no.
No, no, man,
I'll
you're
pull a
crazy,
muscle.
brother.
No.
You're crazy, cray. All right, so I tend to play a majority of my time with instead of color blocking, I'll be gradient blocking within my vector freestyles. So a vector freestyle for all of you tuning in is basically the way that I doodle, the way that I sketch, and the way that I enjoy kind of quickly putting down an idea, a visual idea, um, in vector in Adobe Illustrator without any pre groundwork. There's no pencils here. There's no guidelines for me to have to use, almost like a coloring book. This is all straight spontaneity and just you know allowing me to automatic draw and create a shape. I have no idea what this is going to turn into. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just the way that I generally warm up, and it's an example of kind of the fun that I end up playing with.
Mm-hmm.
So right off the bat, what can we do here? All right,
Yeah. Just do.
just
Just
do,
see what. Yeah. Just see what happens.
just see what
Um.
happens. Here you go. Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. No problem.
All right. Yeah. Some people are here for the clouds.
Yeah, we'll get some clouds
Uh,
going. We'll definitely get some clouds going.
So Bruce asks
But
for each slider you select CMYK. Is that right?
I yeah, I
Are you just
generally
making sure you work in CMYK? Is that typically?
I generally, since I do a lot of print work, I play with the CMYK. Plus, I like to control the amount of black that I'm able to have within a piece. It's a bit tougher for me to have to go the other direction. Start with RGB and then tell my clients to be like, "Hey, sorry about that. Convert that to CMYK." What's going to
Mm-hmm.
happen is that it's going to go very, very. Your darks are going to go very, very light gray because of the calibration.
Mm.
So it's a lot easier to go the other way. To go from CMYK and then save it for web in RGB, and then a lot of it's already there. You know what?
Okay. Cool. Want to welcome you if you are just joining us or joining us for the first time. Feel free to say hello, kind of like Rebecca Thompson's doing. She's waving a little.
Rebecca Thompson from the Poster Posse.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, good friend of mine. She's practically like my long distance sister.
Oh
She's
nice.
gonna chuckle and laugh at that one. She's like, "Oh my god, yeah, nice." But she's the other half of the Poster Posse. You might have heard about the Poster Posse. That um, it's a group of international artists represented by Rebecca and Don Thompson out of Hollywood, out of California, and we get to play routinely, almost religiously, with the great folks of Disney, Marvel, uh, 20th Studios, Sony, Warner Brothers, and it's never a dull moment. Plus, they're really awesome friends of mine. They're family.
Nice. Yeah, Poster Posse is pretty impressive. You can easily kill some time and get inspired through their website. It's pretty awesome.
Well, they do fantastic work, man.
It's very cool. Yeah, wow.
So
Let us know if you guys have any questions. Hello, Maria from Brazil. We have Orlando here from Central.
from Bogota, Colombia.
From Bogota. So you're in South America. Not, I was going to say Central America, but it's South, right?
South America. That I guess they call it South America these days. You know.
Yeah.
I guess so. All right. So yeah. All right. I got my little Batman out of the way today. Let's jump into to what we're playing with here now. Okay, so what do we want to do, man? This is something that we started off as a very quick Google, as a vector freestyle. Sorry about that. Vector freestyle doodle. You know, that's proof of all the vector shapes that are there.
Yeah.
You know, and
very nice.
I kept it very monochromatic, so to say, just because I just got locked into just playing around with that one vector gradient. So
yeah,
let's see what's going on, right?
Yeah, totally. And then I was wondering, like, how would you finish this, or if you had to finish it within like 5 or 10 minutes, like what would you do? Like, I don't know if you throw color in here. I wanted to kind of
no, we could definitely throw color. We could definitely do a few things. For instance, we could select his chest and go to edit colors, adjust color balances. This is one of the quick ways that I get to play with customizing the color that wasn't previously there.
Yeah, you used this yesterday too, just the adjust color method and kind of tweaking it accordingly.
Yeah, so since a majority of the base color is all blue within the blue family, we're not going to get a big, huge jump in range of colors.
Yeah, and you kind of don't want that, right?
Not unless we want his uniform or its base uniform to be like very, very vibrant. You know, it's all right. You know, maybe he belongs to the vibrant team. You know, who knows?
Looks like you inspired Julia yesterday because she did some vector doodles today, actually.
Really?
Based on being inspired by him. So
hells yeah, right on.
Get involved with the daily creative challenges too, like, because there's an Illustrator one happening now. It's actually going to be up right after our live stream. And then you can post that work. So if you are creating stuff, you know, make it as part of the daily creative challenges and then post them and get feedback through Discord as an option.
So once we have that color kind of swapped out and we're happy with it, we could just start color picking it to fill. You saw that?
Oh, hold on. Oh yeah. Yep.
So boom. And when you do that, a majority of the time, it'll literally, you know, just pick up the same parameters of that gradient and just swap out the colors.
I do wish Illustrator has global colors for just solid color swatches, but not for gradient color swatches. And I wish you could have global colors for gradient color swatches. So if you change the gradient in your swatches panel, it'll change it everywhere.
Oh yeah, no. Yeah, I totally hear what you're saying. Usually what I have to do for that is either manually go and pick, you know, select each and every shape that I'm going to want to do, or sometimes what I'll do is that I'll go to select saying, you know, and I'll go down the line of, you know, whether it's the same stroke or the same, you know, color fill. And then that's kind of, I guess, the poor man's way of doing a global change.
Yeah.
But,
and then you have everything, you know, organized on separate layers too.
I do. Whether I have them properly named or is a whole different story.
There's no time to name layers. We're too busy creating. We're too busy creating.
Fun, man. Yeah. So here we're going to play with. Okay, cool. Let's play with getting a new layer underneath all of this stuff. Okay. collecting our brushes. Let me kind of go through that just in case for the folks that are just tuning in and kind of missed out yesterday. I tend to do a lot of vector painting. So I use the brushes that come natively bundled within the Adobe Illustrator application. Go into your brushes palette, drill all the way down to open brush libraries, and that's where we get to play with an assortment of different unique brushes. For right now, in my palettes, I have artistic calligraphic, which is generally a nice broad stroke, right? Which is underneath everything else. Let me bring that up so
Does
you
that
guys can see
rotate or
it.
change based on the tilt of your pen or anything like that? The calligraphic brushes, do they?
Not like in Photoshop,
Okay.
right? When you're dealing with the pencil, well, yes, some of them do. Some of them do play with weight pressure due to the Wacom tablet that I'm on.
Okay.
All right, and then others don't. For instance, those are the actual paint brushes, and here's a pencil, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and with that pencil, we could zoom in to do the kind of profile and have the ends tapered.
Mm-hmm.
See how that changed?
Yeah. I think that always looks nice.
Oh man, I love how that looks from time to time, and I'll generally use the pencil for finishing details, as a finishing tool. The other brush that I'm wanting that I often play with in creating clouds is the charcoal pencil brush. The only problem with this brush, is that unlike the one previously that I showed, you can't use a gradient for it.
Mm.
Okay,
Okay.
you could only use a solid color.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it'll just come out native black.
Got
Right?
it. Yeah.
But let me use that for now. And with a very quick kind of push of a simple blur effect, say a Gaussian, I'm able to grab that same brush and now, hold on, I got something over here that's basically stopping me from, yeah, it's this guy right here. So anyway.
Did you cover up part of it with white?
Yeah, just to simply customize it real quick. So here's that same brush, but with
Uh-huh.
a blur effect to give it almost a smoky look.
Look at that, everybody. Take note. Take note of that.
See?
That's sweet.
So that's that, right? And here we go again. Right? A little bit crazier this time, but we'll give it a blur. We could also go in here and say, oh, less of a blur, please. Right? Or we could change the whole brush profile of it, and the weight, and the opacity. Right?
Mm-hmm.
But let me go back here and show you a quick difference between the two. So that's actually the charcoal pencil brush, which you have to use a true whole color, not a gradient, in order to play with it with a Gaussian blur.
Mm-hmm.
All right. As an alternative, we have our bristle brushes, right? Bristle brushes, which I tend to use similar to like the airbrush in Photoshop. Right?
Yep. Still set to that. Still
to that
using
blur.
that Gaussian blur. Okay.
Yeah, but if I turn it off, here's what it looks like. Here's a simple stroke of it. How about that? Right?
Okay. Yeah.
And that's set at 1 point, 7 points, half a point. Let's put that Gaussian on there, and now it looks like a faded piece of airbrush.
Mm-hmm.
You guys see that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, so I generally, the way that I did those clouds in the living system poster
Mhm.
was kind of a mixture of actually drawing them in, right? So let me go back, give my pencil a gradient shape, and back in my graffiti days, we would do a lot of clouds, plenty of clouds.
Yeah.
Go in here with the smoothing tool and smoothen out some of these high points, make them softer, right? Go in, push that. What I'll probably do is I'll kill the opacity on the side of my gradient. Go back in here, draw another one. Push where that color's hitting, or the
Mhm.
tonality of it. Right? You guys got the general gist of
Yeah,
it.
I just have a feeling if I try to do this, might not. Yours are coming out really good. I don't know if mine will come out the same,
Oh, come on, man.
but I
You
like
can do
it.
this. You can
Yeah.
do it, Paul. You can do it. So we've got some clouds building up over here, but it's not the same clouds as the one that we did for the living system. So what we'll do here is let's see whether let's play with our gradient, right? Make it a linear gradient. And this is what I really, really love doing. I figured this out quite a few years ago when I was doing when I got commissioned to do the Adobe 2014 splash page intro.
Mm.
You know, I actually ended up having a conversation with what's her CMO's name? Shantanu. How do you pronounce his name? Shantanu.
Shantanu,
Shantanu,
Narayan,
man.
Shantanu Narayan.
He's awesome, by the way. You
Yeah, he
know,
is.
I actually met him outside right after one of his keynotes that year,
Oh yeah.
and and I was just like, oh my god, Shantanu, how you doing?
Uh
I had
huh.
I had the illustration printed on a T-shirt, so I was wearing it. I was
Uh
so
huh.
totally like geeked out, like proud
Yeah.
proud daddy. And he was with his entourage. He rose thick, man.
Oh yeah.
Seriously, he rose plenty thick,
Yeah.
and and I ran right up to him, and his guards were like, "Hey, hey, hey, hey!" And he was like, "No, no, no, let him through, let him through." It was a bright sunny day
Mm,
down in downtown LA by the Staples Center, and I was
yeah.
like, "Shantanayu, hey, I'm the guy who got commissioned to do the Adobe Splash page." And he's like, "Oh," and he's looking at the shirt, and he's like, "Oh, I know that artwork. Yeah, you're Orlando." And my
Oh
jaw
wow.
dropped to the floor, man. I was just like, oh. He's like,
That's
he
cool.
goes, have changed the face of what Vector is going to be, And I was just
Oh
like,
yeah.
oh. And for that day, I actually like use that quote everywhere. It's like
Mm.
on my Instagram page, and some folks are like, "Man, that's pretty egotistical." I was like, "Well, go have a conversation with
Yeah,
the
yeah.
head of
Shantanu.
of Shandu, man. Let him tell you, man."
Yep.
But I'm always thankful, and every now and then when we do have the opportunity to be at Adobe Max, I'm always making it a point to go by and just say hi and pay my respects.
Oh, that's so nice. That's so
No,
nice of you. It really is.
he's an awesome guy,
He's a
man. I
cool.
mean,
He is a cool guy. He's just like chill. I'm pretty impressed with him. And he gets like I don't know what honored with being like one of the best CEOs in like Silicon Valley and stuff. I'm just really glad we have him. Like some companies, they go through CEOs at their companies. I'm glad we don't. It's like we have a pretty stable upper management, which is just really good to see. I think. Super low turnover in Adobe in general, by the way. So that's always a good
yeah.
sign.
So so shout out to Shantanu. Thank you for the for the acknowledgement, which I now use like everywhere.
That's awesome.
So I'm going to do something that I need to do. This guy right here, I need to mask this guy out a bit because I took a very cheap route yesterday of just throwing a white shape over it, and now I'm kind of paying for it.
Mm.
So what I'm doing is that I'm creating a big master shape, right? let's let's color that red for now, right? And what I want to do is that this big remaining blue dual hump that you see,
Mm-hmm.
right? That you see here, that thing's bothering me. It's getting in the way of where I'm putting my clouds. So
Mm.
let's select it. Let's select the red and let's
Uh-huh.
hit Command 7 and quickly just mask that bad boy out of there.
Okay.
Cool. It's still there.
Nice.
You know, it's still there. It's just now I've masked it
Yep.
out.
Clipping mask. So the red
Yeah.
shape you drew was the mask,
Yeah.
and now you're just revealing
So
what you
now
need.
yeah, exactly. So now if I want to put this cloud back here, I have no interruption of that white shape. Sure, I still have something
Yeah.
there, but for right now, we're good.
Oh yeah.
So here's that cloud, right? And let's play with maybe how the color of it.
Yeah, this is really fun. Cody bears into it. Cody, she actually does a lot of drawing in Photoshop. I think we have a lot of people in here that do stuff in Photoshop that are getting really impressed with Illustrator like painting actually. So
Hey, a few years ago, we didn't have the right processors and the right computers and the right computer muscle to do it. I remember being in the agency world. Um, I guess it was time when I was playing with Pepsi, and we would do these mechanical files, and it was such a big kind of no-no, a global no-no, to be like,
mm-hmm.
hey, if you're doing anything in Illustrator, do not put any blurs or any substantial effects
Yeah.
because it'll just take forever to render. And when you're working in the commercial agency world, speed is very, very important, especially if you're part of kind of a production line. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so that was over 10 years ago. Now, we've got these computers like my Z4 workstation that I play with routinely that has the muscle. It's a beast. It's got an i9 processor and a 3.5 megahertz boot, backed up with a NVIDIA GeForce graphics card. And I got to tell you, it's one of my favorite machines that I've had to play with in my whole career.
Nice.
So it really pushes the muscles, and it's very rare for me to get a pinwheel when I'm playing in Illustrator.
Yeah. I haven't really seen any delay in any of the painting or creation that you've been doing, which is
So,
nice.
which clouds do we tend to like? Do we like the Bob Ross billowy white clouds, or we like the more hand drawn versions?
Yeah, let us know, chat, what clouds you're into.
The
I don't know,
chat.
the crisp edge ones or the billowy ones. In this case, you're using both, right?
I'm using both. I'm gonna
Yeah.
cheat. I just
Yeah, man.
the thing with doing these live sessions is that I love talking with folks. So it's kind of difficult for me to stay quiet and be like, "Is anybody out there? Hello."
Oh,
Hey
this is
Paul,
really
I'm not
good.
saying that you're just not enough for my time or my space. You know what I mean? I'm not like that. You know that.
Yeah.
You know that. Damn it. So okay, we've got some clouds. I have no idea what we're doing here. I'm
Mhm.
just going through the motions, so to say. And this thing was like, I was gonna throw some type of spaceship superimposed down here with it. Um,
But it's looking pretty cool. Like I like how it's abstract, to be honest with you. You have hints of some sort of
Cockpit, some type of
yeah.
crazy. Let's go behind him. All right, let's go behind this dude and fill out the necessities of, say, a what is it? Cockpit, a seat. We just don't call it a
Yeah.
chair. Like we're at a la carte. Hello, I like two in that plane, please. Thank you. All right,
Yeah,
so
looks
we'll do that. Okay, so the one thing with these fighter pilot seats, from what I remember, in my Navy days of being an aviator. Yeah, right.
I was like, wait a
Dude,
minute.
almost. If it
Yeah.
wasn't art school, I seriously wanted to go fly jets and go like 3 times the speed of sound with my hair on fire, man.
Mm,
I'll just chalk that up to, being a kid from the 90s and watching too much Top Gun.
yeah. We were talking about that the other day. Top Gun, Firefox. Is that a thing?
Yeah, Clint
Firefox.
Eastwood, man. Clint Eastwood goes to Russia to steal back the Firefox. I'm sorry, I'm a big nut
Firefox.
for
Airwolf.
movies.
Remember Airwolf?
Oh, dude.
Was that a helicopter?
Yeah, that was a helicopter.
Oh yeah.
Airwolf. Airwolf.
Love it.
That was the same time as like Knight Rider and all that. But Airwolf,
Mm-hmm.
Firefox, Top Gun. I got one for you, man. And it's got a really good song from Queen on the soundtrack, man. Iron Eagle.
Iron Eagle.
Louis Gossett Jr. I forget the other kid. Some boy who, his dad gets shot down, and Louis Gossett Jr. has to teach the kid how to fly, and they go back to rescue him. But
Nice.
Queen. It was one of the last few soundtracks that Queen actually like composed and did everything to. Look at Paul Trent. He's over there on
Yeah,
his phone
sorry.
downloading the song, man. He's like, oh, dude,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go run a marathon with this song now, man. It's awesome.
Oh yeah, it's based on the poster art. It has to have an awesome soundtrack. You know, it has to have an epic soundtrack just
Yeah.
based on the movie art alone.
Well, those were back in the days, man. We've it's changed so much since then. The movie world. But I'm glad to see that a majority of it's bouncing back to using illustrators, believe it or not, instead of just having it just be all cut and paste, studio photography or blending some celebrity's head on some stand-in model.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't hate Photoshop. I mean, I actually use Photoshop from time to time to have to compose certain compositions for some of the Hollywood studios that ask me to, that commission me to do some work for them. Some of the more mandates that you get from some of these representing agencies that represent the celebrities or the actors. They'll say, hey, I want this picture. We want this picture to be top billed within the composition of the poster. And you just can't say no. You're like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Well, let me see what I can do. And you know sometimes I'll call up a few friends and have them stand in. I'll go, okay, let me do a photo shoot, get the pose down right,
Okay.
and instead of just tracing it verbatim, I'll use it as a piece of reference, and I'll draw alongside of it.
Yeah.
Do I trace? There's a lot of controversy within the illustration world of like, hey, if you trace, you're cheating, man.
Mm.
And I really don't agree with that. There's a lot of artists in art history that used different tracing methods.
Yeah.
Seriously, yeah. I think it was Leonardo da Vinci who ended up using this one technique of almost like a makeshift box, and he would plot point. He would candle, he would light it by a candle, have a pinhole on the other end, and
Yeah.
he would have
Okay.
everything be projected onto the wall, and then he was able to kind
Yeah.
of stencil out a guideline.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing is true today with modern projectors and some of the top graffiti muralists out there.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah.
For me, if I'm pushed for time and I'm up against the clock with a very kind of stringent client or creative team, and they want a really tight resemblance of said of a celebrity or actor that needs to be rendered very, very like photographic,
Mm-hmm.
then the safe bet to make sure that you're not going to kill too much of that project time is to you
Mm-hmm.
know make the best that you can to make sure that their
Yeah.
resemblance is spot on.
Yep.
you know
Yeah. I agree. Tim's Vermeer is a great documentary. If it's about Vermeer using that same method as well.
Nice.
For those of you who are interested, but I'm glad you said that, because honestly, at the end of the day, like you do whatever you need to do to get the job done. And you as an artist, you also know that you're not so heavily reliant on photos to where you can't get a job done or something, like, does that make any sense?
Oh, totally. No, I mean, listen, we're not saving lives. You know what I mean? We're all having to perform a service, right?
Mm-hmm.
So check the ego, leave it at the door, collaborate as best as you can with the invitation that's granted to you from, whatever request or client that you may have. And to each their own. A lot of, I get a lot of hardcore illustrators going, oh man, this dude who does nothing but Photoshop, Frankenstein compositing, or this girl who does this. And I'm like, yeah, they're good friends of mine. And they're like, oh man, how could you like support their work, man? They're not even drawing. And it's like, well, you're not even doing what they're doing. So, why don't you why don't you cool down, man? Cool your jets,
Mm-hmm.
dude. At the end of the day, it's really about your creative voice and being able to apply it. You know what I mean? Have fun,
Yeah,
especially
having
have it if
fun.
you're getting paid for it. And collaborate to the best degree. I hate egos. I really hate egos, man, in the
Yeah.
art world. And you come across them like at comic cons, at events, at fine art galleries, and it's definitely not needed. It's you'll attract more attention, being just really cool and supportive. And that's the other thing. There's a lot of folks out there that, oh, I don't want to share anybody's work on my social feeds, man. It's all about, competition and me getting the next job. No, no, I'm sorry that you think that way. I like to support,
Yeah.
whenever I can. Some people tend to think that I live with my phone attached to my hand. Sometimes I'll go on a whole spree of just posting and posting and posting.
Uh-huh.
But I'm a working man. I like to have fun with what I do, and the clients that ask me to do commissions, or the groups that ask me to join in. And sometimes I don't get to my phone, or I don't get to my social for like a week. I'm
Yeah.
busy living. You know what I mean? That's the other thing.
Yeah.
Live, man.
Yeah. I agree. I go through phases too, So it's like when I'm busy on social media, I'm not busy creating, really. Um, is the thing. But yeah, I'm into this. If you guys are just joining us, we have Orlando here. He's using this very advanced tool in Illustrator. It's called the pencil. He's like, oh yeah, I love that you're just using the pencil. So anyway, cool, man.
Hey, thanks, man.
Into it.
So before I was just randomly drawing shapes. Now.
That's looking good. I would have messed this up a long time ago. This is looking great.
So, thanks, man. So I do a lot of contour drawing. All right. That's when you're not drawing from within. When you're not starting off with a stick figure, and then
Mm-hmm.
building out. You do your muscle tones. Where these things latch onto one another, right? And I'm not really using any reference at all. I'm just going instinctively from some of my past projects, or some of my
Yeah, some things that you just know work.
yeah,
I like what you're doing here. Is this a secondary like
plane flying off in the
plane
distance, kind of just
into it?
veering off. We could totally copy that, scale it down, and have like kind of a rendezvous of these guys flying around, right?
Yeah. Into it. Know that we will have, let's see, do we have it up yet? We will be doing an artist spotlight. So check out the artist spotlight tab, submit your portfolio to be reviewed at some point, potentially be reviewed some point in the future. So do that. That'd be awesome.
So we got that. Let's put some like unrealistic but heightened hype graphics in here to indicate motion and direction. And I tend to try to mix up as much of my culture, my street culture. Hello, what was that?
Yeah, sorry, I don't know what that was.
I thought that might have been
That
the
was
guy.
me. That was my problem. That was all me.
Oh my God! I think they might sell over-the-counter stuff for that, man.
No, it was just video that was just playing. I hope they do. It's my IBS.
Can you imagine that?
Just joking. I don't know what you think you heard.
Watch what you heard. All right, cool. I gotta change this color. This color is way too much. But Paul, man, I'll send my doctor over, man. Long distance.
Yeah,
take care
it's my IBS is acting up. I'm sorry, it's interrupting the stream. Just kidding. I'm kidding. What this actually reminds me of that I'm actually just looked up is Gunship. I don't know if you know the band Gunship. I'm really into them lately.
Oh no, dude! All right.
If you're an '80s fan, it's all like '80s synth pop. And I'll just send you this video because this is like Fly for Your Life. I don't know the artist that created it, but it's all animation and it's graphic like this, and it's amazing.
Oh, right on, man! I think I might have seen the animation.
Yeah, you might have. I'm just so impressed with the animation of this thing. So you'd really be into it. Do you like, so yeah, where do you get like inspired? Like, are you on social media a lot? Are you like kind of following your friends? Do you go to like Pinterest or,
I follow
what do you get into?
I follow a mixed bag of almost everything, I follow a majority of my fellow Poster Posse peeps, right?
Okay.
I've got folks like, Dolly from the UK, SG Posters from Germany, Andy Fairhurst, another UK friend. I follow my whole Poster Posse family, so to say.
Okay.
Right? On top of that, I'll follow my other brothers and sisters like Rob Zilla, Tracy Ching, my really good close friend Dan Mumford. So I look at the community, this poster community, as everyone, all my friends, all family, my extended family. Mm-hmm. From that point forward, I'm really into graffiti, and I'm looking at, Connor Say Boom. That's his Instagram handle. I'm looking at Tristan Eaton. I'm looking at a significant of other poster and graffiti kind of designers. I tend to follow a few galleries to see what's going on. I'll take a look and follow Juxtapose magazine.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Oh, nice.
When I first started out doing vector, they would routinely post up and share my vectors from Behance. But I think now that I've gotten into like the movie world and doing kind of pop culture IP superhero stuff, I don't get that much love anymore. But that's cool. That's all right. I understand. Every brand's got their personality.
Yeah.
But I love creativity. I love creativity, and I love to follow as much as I can. Obviously, I'm following a majority of my brothers and sisters from my Z by HP ambassadorship. Mm-hmm. If you want to see some really cool, insane 3D, take a look at my brother Shane Griffin. He goes by the name of Griff on Instagram. He just did this insane, I don't even know what you call it, but he's on this flowery, budding, blossoming roll of a trip right now, where he's taking Vermeer's Girl with an Earring, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You might have seen that Flemish painting. Yeah. And he recreated it in 3D, where he's having these nodes, right, blossom and bloom into flowers all along her outer perimeter, her head, her neck, her kind of veil. And the guy's just wicked, man. That's my brother Shane Griffin.
Shane Griffin.
Yeah, goes by the name of Griff from Brooklyn. He's actually Irish, but he's a Brooklynite.
I'm totally into, yeah, into everything you just described. I'll have to check them out. Griff Studio. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Griff.studio.
And these guys,
He probably does 3D. Looks like he does some 3D work with flowers.
yeah,
Is that right?
that's what I was trying to describe. I guess,
Okay.
I got to practice my English, man. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Wow, his stuff's impressive. Oh yeah,
Dude,
what's that?
there's this on his Instagram, and he's got this dude riding a longboard, and it's Tony Hawk, actually.
Oh
It's
yeah.
actually Tony Hawk riding a longboard, and he threw it into his world of 3D and nodes, and he totally made him into like this really cool organic flower budding man, drifting on his skateboard.
Oh man.
Pretty
There
wild,
we
right?
are. Okay, now I'm seeing it. Sorry, it took me a little bit. Stop it already, you artists. So good. I love the looking at the girl with the pearl earring. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty
Very
wild,
cool.
huh?
Yeah. Uh, uh,
So do 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 do
yep.
do 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 do. So I tend to follow a lot of folks. I tend to follow even folks internationally. Don Mota. That's his Don Mota. If you want to get gringo, um, that's up on Instagram. He's a local artist here in Bogota. Also another vector brother. Does some really wacky, cool stuff.
That the skater one I've seen before too with the flowers. Super
Really?
impressive. Yeah, I've seen it on Super Rare. Really
Yeah.
cool. All of his work's
So
amazing. Yeah, it's fun.
yeah, my man rocks. My whole family
Very,
rocks.
very cool.
You're part of my family too, Paul.
Oh, thanks,
You rock.
buddy. Thanks, man. When my IBS isn't acting up, I'm
When your
pretty
IBS isn't
cool.
just rolling and growling
No,
at
it's
folks, man.
not.
That's cool.
It was a video. I'm blaming it on a video. It was clearly me. Just kidding.
Hey, listen. I'm the only guy that could probably give you this much gruff live on
Yeah,
live live on
that's
live.
okay. Yeah,
you know,
I'm cool with it.
nah, man. You're my bro, man. We have
Yeah,
fun.
that's right.
You know?
This is turning out really cool. You guys have any questions about anything? Illustrator, whatever. Just
Yeah.
fire them at us. Otherwise, we're watching the man work, adding more detail and color in here.
hmm
Pretty
Let's,
awesome. We're getting Blue Thunder vibes, Airwolf vibes out of this.
Airwolf
A little bit
vibes,
of
dude.
Top Gun into it. So yeah, welcome Uriel. Good to have you here. Hey,
All right,
James
let's-
Hobson. Good to see you, James. Hobson.
James.
Orlando, do you know James?
Yes, I do.
James Hobson. Yes, exactly. Steven, exactly. I can't believe this is from Doodles. Amazing
Hey,
illustration.
thanks.
Yeah, how Fury's like how did you study about light? Like I guess Fury is impressed with your use of lighting so far.
Light. Light is very, very tricky. There's realistic lighting, there's surreal fantasy lighting, and that's kind of what I'm using here. So, him being a pilot, he's usually would be in an enclosed space, so you just get light coming in from the top portion. So everything from his head down to his shoulders, down to probably his mid chest should be really, really kind of blown out in light. But what I'm doing here, just for the drama effect of it, is really putting lighting wherever I think there might be a raised or elevated form. Does that make sense? raised or elevated form.
Yeah.
As far as like kind of a deeper understanding of lighting, um, I guess it goes well in hand of exploring and playing with color theory. I think that color theory goes hand in hand with understanding a bit about lighting, right? Because you're going to have, true chroma, right? True 100 pure color, saturation, and then you're going to have different levels of value, right? What's going to be lighter, darker, mid ground. And then on top of all that, you've got, I guess, spatial quality, right? How things kind of refract and bounce back, whether there's kind of a bounce light right over his shoulder from an ambient amount of light, right?
Do you ever amp that up a little bit with illustrations?
Oh
Just
yeah,
to sell the realism?
I do. It depends upon whether that's the the goal of the illustration. Some folks want something really, really realistic, really realistic times three. How about that? And then other folks love kind of something that's in the opposite direction of that.
Yeah.
But one thing that I did learn from one of my good friends and professors over at Pratt Institute, Brooklyn, um, Rudy Gutierrez. He has his own site as well. He always told me, listen, a quick way to play with lighting is that you'll have your darkest darks right next to, I mean, like literally butted right next to your most lightest lights.
Hmm.
So if you have a big highlight somewhere,
Mm-hmm.
right, and it's an edge or something like that, there should be a really nice defined contrast to that.
Okay. Because it's the dark shape. It's the
Yeah,
contrast that makes it so bright.
exactly.
Yeah, that is cool. So I have some questions around art school, but I also have questions in chat about if you use any Illustrator plugins.
No, not at all.
Yep.
Not at all. I it's not that I listen. I'm friends with a lot of folks, a lot of different brands, a lot of different just engineers, and I have a few that are like, "Hey, man, come on, just play with these plugins, play with them," and out of I just can't. Some
Hmm.
of them just go too quick. You know, sure, I'm all about kind of expediting and having a little bit of kind of an inner track to like getting things done quicker, but
Mm.
not if it's going to take away from the actual steering or direction or the engineering that I'm pursuing. If
Mhm.
I'm not one to just, hey, you know what, here, let's do this, let's open up a shape, right, and in 2 clicks of a drill down, turn it into, I don't know, a swan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not into that. I'd rather go through the rigors of learning and doing my research about that swan.
Hmm.
It makes me smarter down the road when I want to sketch. Here's a bunch of F-14
Mhm.
tomcats with
Yeah.
their wings swept back. I only
Yeah.
know that contour shape because I must have drawn it, a few times. And I
Yeah.
know about that tomcat. They came out in 1972.
Oh wow.
And there's 3 different versions of them. So when I'm doing these projects, I like to investigate because I want to learn and I want to push myself. If I have the
Mhm.
computer totally do it for me, it takes all of that richness away. At least for me. Some folks might not care. Some folks are, hey man, I just want, I like that. But the trouble with that, if you're just having the computer do it, means that anyone could do that. Anyone can replicate that. It's not really you doing it.
Yeah. I've heard it called also, it's kind of like what you do is you have a lot of like pencil mileage. You build up pencil mileage by drawing things over
Nice.
and over again, So
Yeah.
you understand. And it was an animator, Mike Jones, is that right? He was an animator and he would draw the graphic again for each frame. I'm like, you could just copy it, but he's like, he now has a database just like you do of
Hmm.
how to draw pretty much anything, you know, uh, from memory or, you know.
I think that's a beautiful thing when you as an artist have kind of explored so many different avenues because of your career, your interests, that you have this mental database in your head that you're not afraid to tackle on
Hmm.
and put something down without too
Yeah.
much reference. I could always go back and fine tune this stuff, which I generally do. If this was a sketch that I was submitting to a client,
Mm.
right? Obviously, I would put somewhere down here, you know, work in progress, not final art. You'll be surprised. Sometimes, I get lucky and there'll be a client that's like, oh my God, we're done. And I'm like, no, it's just a sketch, man. It's just a sketch. And they're like, oh, but we should be done. I'm like, no, but, we could be done. We could be done this week.
Hmm.
And they're like, whoa, okay, cool. Wow. I'm going to tell my friends about you. And I'm like, yeah, please tell your friends about
Yeah.
me, please. So here, what am I doing now? I am actually brushing in some highlights.
It looks
I'm painting them
great.
in,
Yeah.
right? I'm painting them
Uh,
in. If I shut everything else down, that's what I'm doing right there.
yeah. And
And
it has a
there,
blend mode. Yeah,
yeah,
go
it
ahead.
has a blur. I'm seriously sticking just to that's the strokes. Those are the
Uh-huh.
strokes. That's what it looks like.
And then it's set to overlay.
Yeah, it's set to overlay.
Nice.
And folks are always like, "Hey, how do you get those crazy kind of like brilliant, highlights here and there?" Well, that's one way.
Mm-hmm.
That's one way to do it. But I'm just trying to speed up the process here because I know that we don't have a whole lot of time today to play.
Yeah. Do your thing. It's looking great. Everybody's loving it.
So if I don't want these very soft edges, I could go with the very hard edge for a highlight somewhere, right?
I'm loving it. And again, it's because you've done highlights before. You're like, yeah, there's some light here. I wanted to ask you about like art school going to Pratt. Did that? It seems like you've referenced it a couple times over the
Yep.
past couple days. It sounds like it really helped your career. Or
Oh man, it
tell
helped
me.
me help like my life in general. If it wasn't for Pratt, I think I'd seriously be flying jets. Seriously,
Do you learned a lot there and
I learned everything that I needed to know regarding the fundamentals and then some of art.
yeah. Oh, good.
I didn't have a real art background. I'm the only one of three in my family, right? I have an older sister, I have an older brother, and no one does art. No one's
Hmm.
artistically inclined, right? I did it just because I guess it was my way of kind of escaping the fact that my mom, who was a single mom working in New York City, had to leave me with the next door neighbors or family members whenever she had to go to work, and it was two things: either put me in front of the TV and so I could watch movies, but make sure I had a stack of paper and crayons or ballpoint pens,
Oh, nice.
and I would draw everything. In school, I was that kid that the teacher would go, "Hey, you know what? I need a poster to celebrate Easter or celebrate or celebrate New Year's or Halloween," and I'd be that guy. I'd be that
Yeah.
guy that they would call upon to take on that responsibility. And after throughout high school, I was doing graffiti and I was doing airbrushing. I picked up the airbrush really really early
Mm.
because it was an extension of my graffiti, right?
Hmm.
And during the '90s, There was a big thing about,
Yeah.
painted denim jackets. I was doing heavy metal
Oh.
albums on the back of denim jackets. I wish I
Mm.
still had them, man, because it would be
Oh.
insane. But one of my first jobs was working downtown and having a spray booth and doing those, license plates and doing, the scarves for couples and denim jackets. And one year, I remember one spring break while I was still in high school, I stole my mom's car and I drove to go hang out with my friends down in Tampa. Right, I had a friend who had just recently moved down there, and he was like, "Hey, if you ever get a chance, come on down and visit." And I was like, "Yeah, definitely." I took my mini air compressor, my airbrush, went
Mm.
down there, and at the time, Bart, the Simpsons were really
Mm.
big, so I had just done like a few denim jackets, and I had my denim pants rolled up. I mean, painted up to be like Homer on one side and Marge on the other. It was just wacky stuff.
Mm.
And guess what? I
Mm.
get there, and the first party that we go to that night, when I
Oh no.
arrived, everybody's like, "Whoa, what the hell?" And my buddy just ends up being my hype man. He's like, "Hey, he's got the tools, man. It's in my car. Whoever wants some work done, line them up." And people were lining up. And for that week, I ended
Yeah.
up I ended up making some spare cash
Yeah.
on just that. But when it comes to Pratt, it really helped me out because I knew nothing. I knew nothing about the art world. I didn't even know what the word illustration really stood for. I was just, I remember a professor going, "Wow, you draw really, really well." My life drawing session class, and he was like, what do you? Because it's foundation. It's your first year. You get to experiment with everything, and they push you. So he was like, which area do you want to go in? Are you going to be a fine artist? And I'm like, I heard some kid beforehand mention the word illustrator. So I was like, I think I'm going to be an illustrator. Yeah, I want to be an illustrator.
Mm.
And that's how naive I was about my first few days over at Pride Institute. Now it's a whole different story. Now I love going back and getting invited to
Yeah.
share some insights. You know,
Yeah,
um,
totally, man. That's
and
God. Thanks for that's awesome story about you getting into airbrushing and all that. So that's like really cool. And
I
where it
mean,
all leads. Very cool.
yeah. I mean, I'm still trying
What
to. I'm hoping to get back into that world.
did
You
you
know.
graduate in 97 from art school then or
No, I graduated in '94, and there
Oh,
weren't
see,
any.
look at us. Like I graduated in 95 from art school.
Ah,
And I remember airbrush being big and I remember actually I had an airbrush class and I got an Iowa
yeah.
airbrush with an
Yep.
air compressor. So yeah, well, good. We're like a year off. But yeah,
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah. I love. I want to go back and try to pick some of that stuff up. I mean, literally, my drafting table. If I could switch cams real quick, I could show you
Okay.
that. I could show you that I have an airbrush all the way in the far corner.
Oh.
Right. Right. It's probably hidden from the markers, but somewhere in that direction, right over there, is an airbrush. Right, and
Hmm.
that's I sketch both digitally and traditionally at the same time. So
Hmm.
that's one of my ZBook. I think that's the X2 that I use as a tablet and paint around. And now our tech Paco is going to go. Oh damn it! Put it back. Put the camera back. Paco, am I good, man? Are we
Yeah.
good? I'm hoping we're good.
Yeah, yeah. He brought it up full screen and everything.
Cool, man. All right, sorry, Paco. Man, we had to do it again. But man, I'll tell you, man, it was tough getting into Pratt, honestly. And it's a funny, very very funny, quick story. I didn't have much to go on. My portfolio was really small at the time. I was going to all these portfolio open houses, like the I guess it's the Baltimore School of Art. My brother had. I picked up my brother from him doing a dual shift. He used to be a police officer in New York City, and we were like, okay, cool. We're gonna drive down to Baltimore. He's like, yeah, let's drive down. All right, we drove down. It was winter time. I get there and I see all these kids lining up to get their work reviewed, and they got 8 foot rolled up canvases, and their mom and dad are carrying these things, and these guys are flying Liberty spikes, and I'm there with like a small little black 9 by 12 portfolio with pencil drawings on typewriter paper. I wasn't even using like the right materials, man. And I was so
Yeah.
intimidated that I didn't even have my portfolio review, and I just told my brother, let's just jump in the car and drive back. I'm devastated. And he
Mm.
told me, on the ride back, and he's not an artist. He was just like, man, if you're going to let little things like that totally stop your process from growing or evolving into what is meant for you, then literally, like,
Yeah.
you need to grow a backbone. You need to be
Yeah.
stronger. And when I applied for Pratt, I had the same little booklet, went for a one-on-one interview, and they smiled and they were like, hey, we're going to put you on a waiting list. We're not too sure about it. And then a month went by and they were like, hey, listen, we're contacting you back and we're still interested, but we're a little bit concerned. We want to have you do one minor test,
Mm.
one minor test. And they said, listen, we want you to present one piece to three people
Mm.
on the faculty board, the approval board, and we need it within a month. And I was like, whoa, holy cow. Okay, so what little education that I did have from high school, which was like half a semester of my freshman year, was kind of art history, and we learned about kind of Greek urns and how they were created in kind of the Athenian golden age, right?
Mm.
So what I did was that I said, okay, you know what? I'm gonna celebrate kind of the mythos of superheroes, right? Modern day comic book heroes are kind of our way of kind of a throwback to mythology, right? It's
Mm-hmm.
our own kind of surrealistic contemporary mythology. So what did I do? I found a piece, a Frank Miller illustration of Wolverine that I was so in love with, and I
Mm.
said, you know what? I'm going to do kind of my version of it, but on scratchboard,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Did it, black and white scratchboard, presented it, and I presented it just like that. Just like I
Oh
told you,
nice.
that it's our contemporary kind of tribute to our modern mythologies or mythological heroes. And I told them why I did the pieces, and if it wasn't for Wolverine, I wouldn't have gone. I would have been accepted into Pratt Institute. So, some argue, hey, are comic books any good for youth? I'm
Yeah.
definitely a cheerleader saying yes. Got me into Pratt Institute.
Like so, and especially like scratchboard, like you can't really erase that. I don't know how you erase on scratchboard, right? It's
Oh
not that
no, man!
forgiving, you
It's
know.
not that forgiving.
So
It's a bit more planning, a bit more concise. You're putting down kind of a thin outline, or you're actually putting the sketch on top of the scratch board and
mm-hmm.
pressing down so that you
Yeah.
get kind of a mark, a lineation to it, and then from there you're able to plot out your course as far as like your highlights, because that's what you're plucking away. You're plucking away you're scratching away from the black ink to reveal white. So it's kind of the opposite of what you normally would be doing if you're traditionally drawing, which is putting down black lines and saving the white area for highlights. You know,
Mm-hmm.
but it's almost it's very similar to how later on I developed an affinity to draw in ballpoint, in ink,
Hmm.
and um, I have a whole sketchbook series up on my Behance dedicated to those instances and to those years in that timeline. Actually, the story with that, I'm a man of many stories. Paul, be
Hmm.
careful.
Yeah.
I was a guard. I had just finished Pratt Institute. I couldn't get a job out there. I was getting a few freelance clients doing jazz DVD covers. I was going whenever I had some spare cash, going to the jazz clubs in the village and watching jazz musicians play while I had one drink, and my sketchbook, and I would just go to town while they were I was vibing off of them, their creativity. And some of them would pull up and be like, hey, man, let me see what you were doing. And I would be lucky enough to be invited to their recording studio and do their DVD, I mean, their CD. But at the same time, I was working for Warner Brothers and as a gallery curator for their animated cells department. I was selling original Bugs Bunny and and Batman, the animated series sells, limited editions, actual production sells, the whole nine. And then, I said, you know what? I got to switch gears. I'm not going to get anywhere here. I was trying to get into Warner Brothers from the ground up, right? So I was
Mhm.
working at the flagship store on 57th Street in Manhattan, 57th and 5th. And it was great. I got to know a lot of people. They actually sent me out to Burbank to learn about animation. It's actually the second true American art form next to jazz, believe it or not.
Mm.
And from there, I ended up getting a job as a security guard at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And as a security guard, you're not supposed to draw on on post,
Yeah.
but I couldn't help myself. I had a black moleskin sketchbook, small 3x4, sometimes 5x7. If I could fit it into the inside suit jacket pocket, and I'd go to town drawing and drawing and drawing and loving it. Well, I was on the first floor in the Gothic wing, in the medieval wing, sorry, and it was kind of a closed gallery. There's only two ways in there, right? And it's usually like one of these sleepy galleries,
Mhm.
right, where you practice how to sleep standing up, so to say. And I'm there and I'm drawing this awesome bronze minotaur, right?
Yeah.
Beautiful thing, man, beautiful. And it's black bronze, so it has all these really rich, dark, rich highlights and strong contrasts. And I hear these heavy-footed loafers entering this wood-floored gallery. It's like clop, 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 and I hear this huge, deep Darth Vader-esque Austrian voice just totally go to town on yelling at me. And what am I doing? What the F are you doing in my gallery? Doing. Rah, 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 rah. And I thought I was going to get fired. Seriously.
Mhm.
And I love this job because I was like, off. I had 3 consecutive days off. Although I had to work 12 hours every Friday and Saturday, but I'm
Mhm.
getting a deeper, intimate relationship with the art, right?
Yeah.
So to make a long story short, he's like, let me see the sketchbook. Are you any good? And me being from the Bronx, I was like, brother, you try to confiscate this sketchbook, you and I are gonna have some physical words, bro. You're gonna feel that floor, bro. And and hey, man, I'm from the school of hard knocks, man. I keep it real. So 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 he's looking at this sketchbook, and he's like, I see his evil grit, his evil, slit for a mouth
Uh-huh.
suddenly start to transform and blossom and radiate into a smile, and he starts chuckling and laughing. He's like, you did all of these? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, and why are they all ballpoint? And I'm like, well, I'm a kid from the Bronx. We didn't grow up with pencils and charcoal and Vine.
Mhm.
And I enjoy ballpoint because I'm really testing myself. I'm testing myself to see whether I could put something down and be able to play with my mistakes. It's like
Mhm.
life.
Yeah.
It's like, seriously, it's like life. In life, you can't erase your mistakes. You have to either make them work for you, or you got to start from scratch on revisiting what went wrong. And he was just like taken by that philosophy. He was like, wow, okay, that's wild. And he's the one who told me about the annual juried show at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. And he was like, I want you to submit something. And since it's a juried show, not everybody gets accepted.
Mhm.
I was lucky enough to actually, for 2 years, be accepted into exhibiting at the Metropolitan Museum of Art at an early age of, I think, 24,
Yeah.
23. And it was great. Being a kid from the Bronx, I was like, wow, man, all right, that's it, man. I thought that was like, my ship's coming, man. I'm awesome. I'm gonna get like gallery shows, and yeah, yeah, yeah. And it was a great working wake up call. It was a great kind of like, understanding that in the art world, not everything works that fast, and
Mm.
that's just the tip of the iceberg to a very long and arduous but fun career in art.
Mm-hmm.
So that sketchbook, some of them are up on my Behance gallery.
Oh,
If
nice.
anybody wants to check them out.
Yeah, we'll have to check them out. Speaking of Behance galleries, we will be doing the artist spotlight in less than 5 minutes.
Oh damn!
Dang it.
You know, how come now you guys tend to do this really cool stuff, man? Like, 4 years ago, man. 4 years ago it was just like, yeah, man, we know we found you from this other friend of a friend, man. You know. I don't know what I'm saying, man.
I don't know either. You lost me there.
I lost everyone there.
I appreciate even your ability to create and talk at the same time. So thank you for making this thing like light up.
Hey, man,
Good.
I'll be honest with you, man. It is not easy.
Okay.
Like, it is my biggest gripe, and it's not a bad gripe. It's kind of like when I get these invites to play, my wife is always like, focus, because she knows that I like to do one or the other more. I could totally just stop and just tell stories,
Ah.
right? Or I could just close up and get lost within the illustration.
Yeah.
And neither one of them on its own is helpful for what we're trying to do here. And we're trying to encourage, the folks out there to be entertained and look at Illustrator in a whole different context that most people don't really, expect it to be, right?
Yeah.
I mean, and I enjoy the opportunity to do that.
Yeah. You're definitely doing it, man. It's so fun to watch. And
Well, again, hey man, I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. It's just, again, this is just doodling and sketching. It's, if I wanted to take this to the next level, if the client wanted it, I would actually be referencing elements. I would have photo references off to the side to make sure that the gloves are going to be detailed the right way and they're going to have the right texture. Some of these emblems might be, a bit more detailed. So I'm really just having fun and allowing the folks out there to see that not everything has to be so poignantly strict with, hardcore references and you know, tracing for that matter. It's like, let's just have some fun and doodle and make a few mistakes and learn from the mistakes. And there's moments where I have those beneficial, like, whoa, what just happened? That looks great. And then I'll go back and I'll dissect it and I'll go, oh man, okay, cool. I need to take that a little bit further. And by what I mean by that is, again, I don't want to sound like a broken record, but I want that to come naturally out for me and not just have the computer do it for me and then take credit for the computer.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that is cool. And it seems like you're having fun. You having fun with this?
Oh, dude, I definitely am. Señor Portrani, me estoy divirtiendo demasiado, mi amigo. Todo va bien.
You said that yesterday real fast. It's like sometimes it's not about the end result. It's like you're having fun creating it. That's kind of like the reward you should.
Yeah, that's something that I had to learn the hard way, man, throughout my career. Is that we're all very, anxious to get the ball rolling and to get some clients under our wing and some official projects, right? Because that's how we basically jump from one level to the next level as far as our own business portfolios or our career portfolios, right? Mm-hmm. And I've got to tell everybody out there, man. In the beginning, you're gonna be bound to have to do a few jobs that might not be the most fun, right? You might get stuck with the client that's very, very strict or very demanding. Consider this, and this is what I learned later on that I'll pass it on to all you guys. It's the obvious. Do what really allows you to learn and have a smile through the process of that engagement, of that collaboration. Do it so that you're happy doing the work, you're happy doing the art, you're happy having fun, right? And it shows. I could look at a few friends' portfolios and land on a page and go, "Whoa, what happened here?" It's tight, it's pretty involving, but that's totally not you. And yeah, well, it was a big brand name. I couldn't say no, but man, they really put me through the ringer, man. We went 15 rounds. You hear these horror stories, and at the end of it, you're just like, okay, well, you did it for, the name to have it in your portfolio. But man, if you had to
Mhm.
do it again, would you? And they're like, nah, I'd either pass it on to a friend who would have enjoyed this project. And that's the other thing. If it's not meant for you, it's not meant for you.
Mhm.
But seriously consider people within your network, people within your family that I call, that I so often say, maybe they might be interested in it. Maybe they could turn it around. Maybe they need that help, that helpful moment that you're unaware of, and you might be kind of like the saving grace,
Mhm.
you know.
Yeah.
But definitely do it because it's fun, and
Yep.
you
That's how
want
you're.
you want to do it.
Yeah. That'll keep you motivated.
Seriously.
Um. All right. This has
So what
been
are we doing?
fantastic. It looks like our artist spotlight countdown is at 000.
All right.
So
So
yeah, if you want to take a break, maybe save this.
yep, saving
Up
it,
to you. Okay, cool.
saving it.
And
All right. So
what's that? I don't think I'm going to share my screen, am I? Yeah.
you're right. I think I'll take it from here, right? Yeah. So we'll stick it. I mean, we'll stick with my screen, right? And I guess we're on Behance.
Yep.
Paul, do you want to announce anybody that we're going to look at, or
Yeah, if you want to reveal their page, just go ahead and click on it on that
yeah?
tab. I want to say, hey, congratulations, Michael Rice. Would be reviewing your portfolio, super strong. And I think Orlando knows Michael. I think. Do you know Michael?
Michael, yeah, Michael Rice from the UK. This guy's like my little brother. This guy's like, well, we're having a lot of fun this year. He's one of the entry winners to Tracy Ching's We Create mentorship. And
Hmm.
I'm actually teaming up with him this whole year to help field any questions, both from the creative side to the career personal side, professional side of illustrating. And as you can see, Michael really loves poster work. He's into video games, he's into pop culture, he's
Mm-hmm.
into that world of fantasy, but also music. And what I really, really love of engaging and communicating, collaborating with Michael, who also goes by the pen name of his Instagram of where's his
One.
Instagram?
Yeah, one four
Oh,
zero.
one four zero. Yeah, thanks. I thought he had it up here, but anyway, here's this. And what I really love about his piece is that his page on Behance is that I could see a level of growth of where he actually started off on, of playing with Illustrator and keeping things
Mm-hmm.
very minimal, very clean, and he shows a tidbit of his process.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Look at that. Let's give him a like right there. Right?
Oh yeah.
And I love his sense of vibrant colors. He's not afraid of that. But I love to see how much he's grown since there and exploring different patterns and brushworks. Here's one example that just had me blown away.
That's fun. Spider Bands.
Yeah, man. And what I love about him is that he's actually, he moonlights as a graphic designer, but he's really big into. He used to do a lot of painting, and a lot of stencil work, and he wanted to carry that digitally. And I love how there's you could see a significant kind of genuine creative voice in his style.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, am I talking about this particular Miles Morales Spider Verse, which the whole animation looks like this visual personality. right?
Mm-hmm.
But when we go back, he takes it to a whole different level. This style that he's got of like this stenciled, paint over.
Yeah, I love the texture in
Oh
it.
man,
It looks really good.
it kills me. He gets really like texture upon texture in like the middle section of this, but then he lets it gradually fade out, almost as if that texture's part of like that paper pulp that you would once
Mm.
play with back in the old days.
Hmm. Yeah, this is great.
Right, and his
Good.
sense for rendering is spot on. I mean, he's actually able to get loose, and he's able to actually really hone it in and get tight and not lose that resemblance. Here's something that he did recently as a commemorative for this particular band. Look at the textures in this thing, man, and how painterly it is.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're getting him to play with trying to push these so that they could be silk screened, and the silk
Hmm.
screen process is isn't so forgiving when you're playing with
Oh.
like blending colors and overlapping them and having certain textures, deliver a range of different treatments.
Yeah.
It's pretty wild, right?
Reminds people of like a comic book. It's very.
Yeah, and that's what I really like about his unique flair and appreciation for art. It's like, yeah, he loves art, he loves design, he moonlights as a graphic designer, but he's also a fanboy of like the comic book world and poster art and gig posters, and how he brings it all together um, is a great reflection upon just his authenticity and appreciation for kind of the times that he comes from, his generation.
Hmm. That's very cool. You know that poster, he mentions you at the top of the Olive Tree Tour poster.
Hey, I didn't want to point to that, man.
Yeah. Okay. That's why I'm here. I'm here to brag about you. Like you weren't
I'm not
kidding.
a bragging
You were
boy, man.
seriously helping.
I'm not a
Helping
bragging
out.
guy, man. I'd rather brag about others than brag about myself. But here's a pretty nice kind of monochromatic or two color representation. Let me see if I can zoom down so you could see the whole thing. That's better, right?
Alien?
Love it.
Oh, Alien Ant Farm. Nice.
Yeah, you know these guys.
Yeah. The band, yeah. Yeah, that's wild. That's some bold colors there.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
That's like those are statement colors. Ooh, there's a video on that page
mhm,
of kind of putting it together.
yeah. So, what do you think?
Yeah. I think it's cool. I'm loving the colors. Oh, and that's where he started out.
Yeah,
Or at least different iterations, I guess. Huh.
yeah. What's really cool is that a lot of different folks use the Behance gallery function to obviously promote their work, showcase their work. But one thing that I routinely keep on going back to and trying to get folks to really consider is to use this format to deliver the whole story, to deliver whether it's the behind the scenes or to deliver and pay credit to some of the folks that if this was a collaboration or a joint venture, but to actually put in a little bit of dialogue, a little bit of personality to delivering and explaining why you did this illustration or why you did this photography or why you did this
Mm.
graphic design. That way, when people are visiting your pages on Behance, they're able to really gravitate and understand a little bit more than just a few thumbnails and pictures. This is the thing that actually gets you ahead in consideration of certain art buyers that work for big brand agencies. People that are looking for a particular artist that could deliver something that right now is vaguely just an imaginary thumbnail within this creative director's brain. You know,
Hmm.
so for you folks out there putting up pages on Behance, consider putting up some dialogue and maybe some behind the scenes. Let people know
Hmm.
your process. Don't be afraid of it, and Don't be like, a drop and run to like, hey, I'm just gonna post this here and that's it. That's no, man. Tell the story, entertain us, get us to understand where you're coming from. And
Mm-hmm.
Michael Rice does a fantastic job of delivering upon that.
Yeah, I'm into it. I like the little descriptors that he has at the top.
Mm-hmm. So mad props to Michael Rice, right?
Yeah, so good. Yay, Michael! So impressive. Very cool.
Let's take a trip to Cuba.
Yeah, definitely likes texture.
Yeah, that's pretty wild. Let's give this guy a little love right there. There you go.
Yeah, it's like he's playing around with different things and different color palettes and stuff, but it's like it still very much has all that texture and the stuff he likes. So you could still kind of recognize it as his work.
Yeah, I mean, I got into a conversation with him about, hey, how often do you go back to your traditional methods? And he's like, well, it's kind of tough. I'm basically, don't have a whole lot of space to dictate for my design. And if I do get a chance to go back, it's not that often. But when he did do his traditional art, he was telling me that he was spray painting and creating a few different masks to come off with some of these textures. And I'm glad that he didn't lose wind of that. That he didn't cast it aside and say, "Oh, I'm just going to rely on Photoshop, tricks and gimmicks."
Mm-hmm.
Like he's actually pulling from his real genuine background of traditional understanding of his creative voice.
Mm-hmm.
And that's important, man. That's really, really important. And that's what makes us all significantly different in this huge creative world and, design community. Again, we don't need copycats.
Mm-hmm.
The world doesn't need them. Don't stand in the shadow of somebody. Stand in the light of your own brilliance.
For sure.
True.
Super strong. Strong work. Oh, Michael Rice is in chat. There you are, Michael. Good to see you here. Hopefully you're catching all this. It's like really cool.
Hey, what's up, Michael? Surprise, surprise, my brother.
That looks really good.
Oh, I love that Boba Fett, man. I'm a big Boba Fett fan.
That's a good job rendering that metal, the crispness of those edges.
Yeah, look at this, man. And he's not, he's not overhanded.
Mm-hmm.
He's not overdoing it.
Do you know how much he uses Illustrator versus Photoshop? Because I think he has both down for.
Yeah, he has both down. I mean, hey, he's up on the chat.
Yeah, let us know, Michael. Like, I don't know if most of this is done and there's of course no wrong answer. Just kind of curious. I'm curious how, like, where the texture comes from. Because you could do it in both programs.
Mm-hmm.
But
it's a very smart way when you're having to deal with like silk screening. Back in the days, you would use silk screening, and either you're laying down flat colors, big, flat, bold colors, or you're throwing down tints on top of tints to come out with a third, or you're doing kind of a bitmap type of dot matrix type of thing to get your tonality and shading on top of your colors, But my boy Mike Rice over here. Mm-hmm. I just love how he's brought kind of that affinity that he had for comic books and stencil art into his modern day, signature.
Yeah, for sure. Sounds like he uses he began a lot of his work in Illustrator and actually has kind of moved to Photoshop as well. So yeah, whatever gets the job done.
There you go.
I'm into it.
So
Michael Rice, you are the man.
Rice.
Good job, buddy.
Yeah.
Amazing. Loving the spider.
Right on.
Very cool. Well, cool. Yeah, that's great. So we still have, let's see, probably about 10 minutes. So Orlando, I don't know if you want to finish up what you're doing, or
I don't know. I mean, should we finish
some
up
of Michael's work? Let's add some textures. I'm just joking. Let's just rip off what Michael's doing, because man, he's doing something right.
Oh man, I don't know. I mean, soon I'm hoping that you might, invite him to do one of
Oh
these
yeah,
live
for
draw
sure.
sessions. I'm sure that he'll take it from Illustrator into Photoshop and open up a whole new bundle of wow.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Oh,
that's my boy.
that'd be fun.
That's my boy. So what are we doing? What should we?
Yeah, and just a quick shout out too. Like, if you want to be submitted to the Artist Spotlight, you do that through that Artist Spotlight tab. So send your portfolio through. It doesn't have to be Michael Rice level. Wherever you're at, just push it through, and we'd love to just kind of review it and give you some praise mainly. So
Oh
yeah,
man, that
so yeah,
rocks.
that's good.
Michael Rice level. I'm gonna have to make a T-shirt and send it to him.
Yeah,
Michael Rice level, quote
yeah.
unquote, Paul Tranny.
That is pretty
Nice.
strong work.
It is. No, it is,
Um,
and he picks it up really fast, man. He really does.
mhm. Yeah, and so let us know. Like, we find people from all over. Since you kind of mentioned Michael being a guest, like, yeah, just do work, get on people's radar, show that you could live stream and you have a decent mic and camera, and then that's all. Those are all steps to potentially become a guest. Do your own live streams. You can live stream on Behance, so, and directly from apps like Fresco and stuff like that.
So should we try to take this further within the next 8 minutes, or should we just play around with another doodle? I don't know. I mean, I'm up
Yeah, that
for
one
it.
looks pretty awesome, but I've said it every step of the way. I was like, oh, I would have stopped a long time ago because I would have messed it up. So I'm part of me is like, don't do anymore because it looks so good.
Well, let's play with a few things, a few other elements that we could at least share and bring light to. For instance, let's play with changing these colors, right? And let's go to a hard light. Let's go to an overlay, right? We could have some type of clip function here, or we could generally just,
That's cool. That's
hold on. Am I
cool.
on the right layer? Am I on the right layer? Um, Here we go. We could just totally shift and overcolor a
Mm,
section, right? You see
yeah.
that?
Mm-hmm.
You see
That
how that
is,
responds? How that reacts?
yeah. Just a gradient and then just changing the blend mode.
Yeah, change the blend mode down to color,
Mm.
right? If you wanted to have some type of red alert type of whoop 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 while the guy's flying. Paul,
Yeah,
do you definitely make sound effects when you're drawing, don't you?
yeah, I do. I do. Is that okay?
Yeah, hey man, I think it would be totally wrong if you didn't. I mean,
Some tools just have sound effects that go with them. Maybe because they make it you feel powerful. You're like,
they
let's do
just have.
this.
I think that's gonna have to be thrown into the next iteration of Illustrator, man. Sound
That would be
effects to some of the
fun.
tools.
Yeah. People are asking about how to clip in Illustrator, how to add text. People were asking about
Well,
text yesterday.
yeah. Well, text. That's
Whatever, whatever you
text.
want.
If we're gonna bring in text, right? You could write it in,
We'd
right?
need a name for this if this is some sort of movie poster, everyone.
This is the oh man,
So give
Paul
us
Tr-
a
Paul Tranny in the danger zone.
yeah. Look out.
Look out!
The danger zone.
There you go,
Give
Paul.
us a movie title for this, everyone.
If we were to turn this into a movie title, let's do that real quick. How about that? Let's see whether we could have enough, a few minutes to actually play and develop this as a movie title. Right? Since I generally do so many of them. Let's just
Or
color. Let's just color block real quick, man.
cool.
Right? Let's go 80s. That black 80s marquee.
Let's see, the Michael Rice level. Danger Zone. People like Danger Zone.
Nice. Danger Zone.
Orlando. Voyage to the Vector. The Bronx Top Gun. The Expanse.
Oh no. Too crazy. They can't handle it.
Peor es nada. Peor. I don't know what that is. Elapsed. Red Alert.
Red Alert. Okay, let's see. You know.
Mach 1. Let's crank that number up, though. I'd do like Mach 99. Is that even a thing?
Mach 99.
What? And he time travels when he goes that fast.
Wow.
Iron Eagles 4. Freedom never sleeps. Uriel. That's hilarious.
Nice.
USS Nimitz.
Who said that?
Glenn Matthews. I don't know the USS Nimitz story.
That's the battle for Midway. Believe it or not, one of the most popular carriers out there.
Oh.
That actually found service in the 80s. I think they still had it working in the 80s.
4 minutes left.
4 minutes left. So I try to bring in as much as I can from time to time, whether it's inspired by comic books, whether it's inspired by graffiti, unexpected elements, like what I'm doing right now with breaking up that white panel.
Yeah, I like it.
Right.
Speed of sound. Attack vector 1.
Attack vector 1. Let's see. Attack. Attack vector 1.
I like it. Very cool. Just so you guys know, we have a daily creative challenge coming up after this. All about Illustrator. So it's a great way to get, sort of apply these or learn how to use some of these tools and be cool like Orlando here. And then looks like we have some UX UI building an Animal Crossing type app this afternoon too.
Animal Crossing.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Like the slant.
Get the slant in there.
Supersonic. Red 5 standing by. That's kind of cool.
Check you out. Red 5 standing by. Check you out, man.
That's Uriel. I'm just kind of reading chat. They know what's up.
Attack. Let's kill that white. Where's that white? We see now I'm like, okay, I didn't label my layers. I have 56 plus layers right now.
Wow.
Where's that border? Right.
Yeah, I agree. Cody Bearer likes the black blending in with a
it's
in those lines.
Hey, thanks, man.
Breaking the border. So interesting.
It's like having grown in the 80s. I think there's a big match of those 80s black with red pin light DVD covers. You know what I mean? I mean VHS covers, DVD. Jeez, VHS. Which was part of my role over at Troma when I worked over at Troma, right? To do VHS covers for them.
Oh, nice. That
I'm
sounds
gonna
like
cheat.
fun.
I'm gonna cheat.
We're kind of down to our last minute. Just so you
Okay.
know.
Cool. Not a problem, man.
Are you gonna post this anywhere? Are you gonna put this on like Instagram or anything?
I probably
what are you
will.
gonna do?
If you want.
Mexifunk. Feel free to follow him, Orlando, on all the social medias, and of course Behance. People are like, unbelievable, looks sweet. They are
nice,
right. And they want you to come back.
Hey, anytime you guys want. You know,
I can't believe we waited a whole so many years. It's crazy.
I don't know why, man. I don't get it.
I don't either. I have no idea.
I showered in between, man. You know, so I know it wasn't my BO, bro. You know.
Yeah, we just really appreciate you, man. You're awesome.
Man. I enjoy being here, man, and sharing what I know and what I've taken the time to play and explore throughout my career with you guys and everyone out there. And, you know, hopefully people are able to be inspired and take this to the next level. And, you know, definitely not do a copy of a copy type of thing.
Yeah. Boom. All right. Last 30 seconds. You look at you squeezing it in just in the nick of time.
There you go, man.
Very nice. Any closing words, Orlando?
Thank you. Thanks to everybody out there. Thanks to everybody out there that chimed in. Thanks to you, Paul, for having the availability. I know that you're off busy running marathons, and you know it's okay.
No, you're the man.
Okay, so here it is, and thank you guys. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Stay tuned.
Z by HP. Peace out. Thank you.
Orlando. See you, everybody.